Real quick, before I get started with the video, I just want to give a big shout out to Gin and Tonic _ on Instagram. Jake, he did my new channel art, my new profile picture, my new YouTube banner, all that stuff, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. He sent me a ton of variations. They look awesome. Also, he sent me this shirt, which is really, really cool. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can go get his shirt, his Etsy store. He makes a lot of really cool stuff related to Star Wars and the lightsaber community. So massive shout out to Jake for my new stuff and for this shirt. I love it. Looks great and it feels great. So let's get into this video. How did you come to buy a lightsaber? Was it by watching a Star Wars movie, hopping on Google, buying the first thing you saw? I hope not, because if you did, then you likely bought something quite terrible, as seen in my video about why you should never buy from Ultra Sabers. Or were you scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, you saw an ad for a lightsaber company, and they're advertising a buy one get one sale, they're using pretty awful music, they're using saber dueling or spinning clips that are actually stolen from someone like Mike Starwalker or a lightsaber dueling or fighting league, and then you bought a saber from the link on their page. If that's what you did, then you were scammed and you supported a bad business. If you didn't know that, then now you know. We're going to get into that in this video. Or maybe you scrolled through TikTok. You saw an attractive girl spinning a saber really fast and throwing out her affiliate link to that saber company even faster. And you bought a saber from their link tree or from their beacons page or what have you. If that's what you did, then you did no research.
You fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
You fell victim to impulse buying, which in this hobby will burn you much more often than not. Don't believe me? Check the R Lightsaber subreddit. There are over 120,000 members in that subreddit at the time of making this video. It's a huge community and there are tons and tons and tons of examples of that. Take a look through that sub. See how many times people have posted, quote, I just bought from insert random and usually terrible saber company name here, and I haven't seen many reviews for them. What should I do? Now the issue is I just bought from and then I've never seen blah, blah, blah. What should I do? The issue is you bought from them without looking. But that's beside the point. Hundreds and likely thousands of people every month are buying overpriced sabers from random saber companies, which are actually just money-hungry jerks with little to no regard for their customers, drop shipping LGT product direct from China, who then ghost customers after the orders are placed. They spend their entire budget on marketing and website design and zero on improving the products they sell, which are not even their own. I've talked about this extensively in the past on my channel, but it seems that we need to cover it again for those that either do not take the time to research or that could care less about supporting these bad businesses. If you'd like to see an in-depth expose on one of the most notorious examples of what I'm talking about in regards to these bad businesses, check out my nearly hour-long video on DX Sabers. It may genuinely shock you what some of these people get away with. So a quick rundown. This is an extremely simplified view because I like to keep the video as short as possible, but there are a few big lightsaber manufacturers in China. YDD Saber, LGT Saber Studio, TXQ Saber, and there are more, but those are the ones I'm talking about here. LGT is the biggest, and they have by far the most vendors across the world. These sabers from these three companies look almost exactly alike, as you can see here. All of them have that same sort of design, and LGT's owner and YDD used to have stuff. TXQ's owner was close with LGT's owner. Most of them, they not work together, but they're kind of similar. Designs aside, that whole thing aside, LGT has officially partnered with one company, and that is Dark Wolf Sabers. Dark Wolf Sabers is based in America and is run by Johnny Collado, and he and LGT have worked on designs and board manufacturing, so he has an actual stake in the company, if you want to call it that. LGT's wall in their factory in Shenzhen, China actually says Dark Wolf on it. They are a legit company, Dark Wolf. So Dark Wolf is a legitimate US-based vendor of LGT's product. Padawan Outpost is a legitimate UK-based vendor of LGT's product, and they have a contract with LGT. Fire Sabers as well for the United States. I personally confirmed with LGT that there are about 40 to 50 vendors across the world that they consider first grade, which means that they only vend LGT's products. Most of them are reputable and have signed contracts with LGT. These are companies that I personally recommend as well, which we'll get to later in the video, so stick around for that, as it's really important to know where to spend your money and to know where not to spend your money when it comes to the saber community. There's so many companies out there trying to get your money, and I'll try to guide you through which ones actually deserve it. LGT also has open vendors, meaning companies that not only sell their products, but other companies' hills as well. There's a huge amount of these vendors. and as such, they're not as closely monitored as the first grade vendors. This leads to an increase in shady business practices and is where people get into trouble. Although they have contracts with LGT, they tend to leave out the fact that they're selling LGT's products and instead claim that they make them. This is wholly untrue and is extremely easily disproven. However, it still happens, and it's how a lot of people in the community have been scammed. There are also outside LGT vendors who may have just started buying LGT's product off of their AliExpress store in bulk, marking it up 200 to 400%, and then start reselling it with zero modifications done. They're not adding new sound fonts, they're not customizing the hilts, they're doing nothing. These people usually don't sign contracts with LGT, and they just kind of go rogue in that whole process. This is one of the biggest issues by far, and most of these people do not ever mention LGT on their site or in product listings, but rather claim that they are their own products and very vaguely describe their machining and manufacturing processes, when in reality they had literally nothing to do with it. They have zero design input, they have zero manufacturing prowess, they don't do anything except buy and resell the sabers. You may be thinking, what's the issue with this? Besides the massive markups, the issue is that these people who do this, like DX Sabers, like Dynamic Sabers, like Saber Masters, like Saber Zone, like Galactic Sabers, like the ones you see being promoted by TikTok girls that are getting free sabers and are money for promotion, that don't do an ounce of research into the company, and instead of being blinded by the dollar signs, they have zero track record. These companies have no track record at all. They've had horrible customer experiences. They are way more expensive than they should be, and most of their owners have zero idea how to fix a saber that has an issue. This may just be me talking here, but I would personally never start my own saber company unless I knew how to fix everything related to my product. Otherwise, it's not really my product. It would mean that I outsourced. So let's talk about this TikTok thing. I grew up in the Vine era, so maybe I'm just more of a boomer and I just can't understand TikTok. However, I have really strong opinions about it. There is a very, very, very small amount of creators on TikTok that actually know a lick about this community, and that may sound like a really harsh statement, but it's true. TikTok has become this thing that's apparently immensely important for small businesses to look into, since the cosign of someone with a bit of a platform and knowledge of SEO, search engine optimization, can make their order volume exponentially increase. I won't get into the TikTok or YouTube algorithm in this video since it's just too much of a headache and it's ultimately not really important for my topic here. However, what these random little saber companies do is they direct message these attractive girls, those really young, vulnerable guys, or these guys with a platform, or these girls with a platform, message them, they get them on TikTok, they ask them to promote their sabers for either a fee, an affiliate link, in order to get kickbacks on sales using their promo codes, or they're giving them the free product in exchange. Now, there isn't anything inherently wrong with that, with this style of promotion, because it's done for like everything. Athletes are sponsored by like Gatorade and Nike. Sports teams sponsored by restaurants or large corporations, all that stuff. However, there's an issue with many of the saber companies that are being promoted, and it's incumbent upon the one promoting to research and make sure that they aren't doing anything illegal or immoral, which they aren't doing. So this is something that's not happening. And I've had to field literally thousands of questions from people on this topic. Hey, have you ever heard of this? I saw it on TikTok. No, I haven't, because one, I don't care about TikTok. Two, there's no point in me researching these people because I can tell you just by their name and the first thing I see on their website what they're doing. Someone sees some TikToker promoting the ever-living hell out of some random company no one's ever heard of before, and they decide to ask me on the subreddit, they decide to ask the Universal Lightsaber community on Facebook, they decide blah, 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 whatever. By the way, it would serve you really well to just search those groups and all that stuff first before, asking questions, because people get tired of repeat questions. So just search the group, search Reddit before you ask a question, please. But 99% of the time, these companies are LGT dropshippers. Now, this video isn't entirely about LGT and the companies that use their products to turn a profit, but I just wanted to mention that because it is by far one of the biggest issues in this entire hobby. I'll leave this topic with a quote from a good guy in the community, Tyler Babcock, the owner of Vire Sabers. He's one of the most reliable and awesome LGT vendors and overall people in the community. He's a great guy. So this is in response to someone talking about a random LGT reseller that popped up, and he said this, which I 100% agree with. Quote, eventually there's going to be too many vendors. The new ones can only do one thing to make sales, undercut. So what happens when the good ones decide to fold because it's not worth the time and energy to keep lowering prices to compete with all these new guys? All we will be left with is trash vendors who are only looking to make a quick buck. Tyler is right, and many of us know that, This doesn't just affect LGT vendors, it affects other companies that sell custom or replica hilts. People buy this stuff from a random little company and never think to buy something different or better from some of the most long-standing and most reliable companies that have literally built this community. It's a harsh hobby, and I commend the ones that have been doing it right, but it's going to be a sad day when Tyler's prediction comes true, and it's now inevitable due to the sheer amount of awful promo on TikTok and on other platforms that have oversaturated the hobby with the same product. No offense to LGT, but this is really something that needs to be dealt with soon to protect the hobby as a whole. So what can we do as a community? We can support the good people. We can support the good businesses making quality product and encourage others to do the same. Don't put down the people who choose not to, but rather try to educate them. Don't, call them names, anything like that. Try to inform them that if they're buying from these bad businesses, try to inform them of the good businesses. So who are the good people? If you've been following my channel for a bit, then you know that I created something that's rather unprecedented in this community, and it's for the betterment of this community. It is what I call the Saber Decks, a huge lightsaber company database. And at the time of filming this video, has over 200 different saber companies, installers, parts and accessory stores, and more that are trusted, have been vetted by myself and others, and are absolutely worth your money. Although it's slightly subjective because of the nature of a list like that, and there are certain individuals and companies that I absolutely refuse to include. I firmly believe that it's the best saber company database of its type, and I tried extremely hard to be objective in determining who made this list. The Saber Decks is linked on my channel and in the description of this video right here, or you can find it by going to tinyurl.com/Lando Sabers, all one word, which takes you to a Google Sheets link, which is kind of like an Excel spreadsheet that has a bunch of different sections for different types of businesses, one of which is relevant to this particular video and topics that I've already covered: LGT vendors. There are trusted vendors on that database that have a track record, owners that are active in the community, and have fair pricing. I receive zero kickbacks from any Sabers purchase on this database. I am not partnered or affiliated with any of these companies. This is done for the purpose of education or, maybe in some cases, re-education for the community. I simply wish to help increase the overall knowledge base of this community so that it can go more in a positive direction instead of hundreds and thousands of dollars being wasted on sabers that aren't worth that money. I know this video may sound like a rant, and maybe it is. I put out a YouTube community post the other day that said that this video will be the most important video that I make, and I stand by that. I'm probably going to have to make it a super clickbait title as well, so I can grab people's attention before they really make that mistake. The same mistakes that others have made before them in this community and stuff that's been going on for forever. If I can stop you before you have a first experience in this community that is negative, then the likelihood of you staying in this hobby exponentially increases. I want you to stay in this hobby. It's a fun hobby. It's a great hobby. But when people have these bad experiences with these bad companies, they leave the hobby, they ridicule the hobby, they hate people in the hobby, all that stuff. So if I can stop you from getting that first negative experience, then I hope you can stay in the hobby. If this video has helped you in any way, feel free to drop a like and let me know down in the comments below. Share it with your friends or other community members. As always, subscribing to the channel is the best way to make sure you never miss my content. And once we reach my goal of 20,000 subscribers, at the time of filming right now, I have like 14.1 or something like that. I plan to do the biggest giveaway I have done yet, but only if we get there. So that may take a while. So make sure you hit that red button if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something. I really wish someone would have made this video when I first started out in the community, but they didn't have that. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and may the force be with you.